Ciso. Oh, it's fabulous! A strike to get you up off your seats.
Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social. This is the big one, the Crystal Palace preview. Jack, as we've discussed in our match reaction, it's not been the greatest of weeks for Brighton Hove Albion. However, this is the time. This is when we need to bounce back, and it's against one of our greatest rivals. It's not a derby, but it's a massive, massive game, and it's one of those games where we want to win. And bragging rights are on the table. Mm-hmm. They've obviously beaten us comprehensively at the Amex this season, 3-0. It was a tough day that day. Mm-hmm. So we don't want that to happen again, do we, Jack?
No. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. No, we don't want it to be, we can't have them doing the double over us, although I just feel like with this week, the way this week's going, that we're going to get something horrible. But like you said, it's perfect time to bounce back, sort of take forward what we can do and play well. So, yeah, big game ahead for the boys.
Big game ahead. Obviously, Palace coming off a 1-1 draw against a pretty shocking, to be honest, a pretty shocking side, to be honest.
Yeah.
That fills me with confidence. Southampton getting a draw against them. Going into this game, at least, at least that's something we can take from last night's action. They got a last-minute equaliser. I think it was Matthias Franke got their goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack, talk to me about Palace. Obviously, they've been on a fantastic run recently. They're doing pretty well. Again, a little blip last night, but they come into this full of confidence. Mateta's obviously a bit like Vincent van Gogh at the moment. He's missing an ear, but he's still been banging them in for Palace. They've got, obviously, Eberechi Eze. Wharton's a fantastic player, as much as you hate to admit it. Mark Gay, a top quality centre back. They've got some good players. Who are you most worried about going into the game?
Oh, all of them. No, not all of them. They've got some great players. They're playing really well at the moment. They've got in really good form. I think the Southampton result was the sort of shock result of the night last night. It was surprising that they sort of struggled against that team, but they do. They're a strange team to work out. Obviously, they're doing fantastically well recently, Crystal Palace, but what I don't understand is that they do seem to fall. They haven't got as many points as other teams. They do have their sort of foibles, and they've lost to Brentford at home, lost to Everton at home. They're obviously doing really well away. So yeah, it's a bit of a funny one going into this game. I'm not really sure how to sort of expect it really. They've got a lot of dangerous talent, but so have we, and a lot of it's young talent like us. So yeah, it'll be interesting to sort of see how we sort of take that on and get on with it. And big game, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know.
Huge.
I always get nervous talking about this game because I don't want to say anything that will jinx it. And it's just sort of like, I think so many years recently, I think we've come into this game almost like arrogant. We've almost come in with the expectation of a win, whereas this time round, I think we can, when they had under Hodgson and when they were in all reality quite crap. Now we sort of go into the game where they are a good side and they have got quality in there. So it makes it a lot more worrying prospect. And yeah, maybe we come in as slight underdogs. I don't know, but it's maybe the table doesn't show that, but definitely form shows that. And it's a very different
100%.
feeling this time. Very, very different feeling. And it'll be interesting to sort of see how this pans out, really.
Well, yeah. Talking of being the underdogs, we are 2-1 to win the game, with Palace being about 7-5. So I think by my maths, if this is not incorrect, they are slight favourites there.
Yeah.
With us being which actually, do you know what, Jack? I actually think this will play into our hands because I agree with you. I think past couple of seasons we have been pretty cocky, and sometimes rightly so. Obviously, we had some good results against them recently, but at the same time, as we saw earlier in the season, they came to the Amex and just blew us away. So, I think maybe it might play into our hands going into it as underdogs. I hope. Hopefully, we've got the players that have been looking a bit leggy and a bit, Baleba obviously coming off the bench. Hopefully he's going to be fully fit going into the game. I think he's going to be really, really important in that centre midfield to help, combat if Walton does start. I think that'll be a good matchup against each other. And then Veltman apparently is nearing a return. I don't know how close he is to a
great
return.
asset. Great asset.
He'll
for
be
Saturday.
huge. Yeah, that'll be a massive return because I think, as we discussed in the match reaction to Villa, you mentioned Hinchwood, for example. Like seeing him back in centre midfield would be huge. And having the options then, if Veltman plays first 60 and then bring Hinchwood in for the last 30, again, just to have that ability to switch things around. Whereas we haven't had that luxury, with Lamptey and Veltman both being out, we've had no one to be able to play at right back. So, yeah, I think it looks like Dunkey's obviously going to start again, and hopefully a bit more match fitness under his belt should see out the 90 minutes. But yeah, in terms of our team news, Jack, who are you impressed by from the Villa game, and who would you like to see keep their?
No,
I mean,
no,
that's a fair response. But no, who would you like to see keep their place? Because there was a few changes. So I'm assuming the likes of Minter will come back in. Baleba obviously will come back in. But who would you think is deserved of a place come the Palace game?
Yeah, interesting one. I have enjoyed Gruder recently, but I think maybe it's time for him to move out the team. I like Gruder's work rate, but he's not bringing goals and assists at the moment. So for me, I'd like to see possibly a Welbeck, Pedro both starting together with Welbeck in the further position and Pedro back in the 10. Matoma and Minter, I mean, we can go full strength for this. Everybody's available that is available should be up for this game. So yeah, I wouldn't be against, if Veltman is back, seeing him start or come on later on or something like that, and see Jack in midfield, or basically Baleba with another, which it has been more or less all season. It has always been Baleba and another.
There's been a few shouts for Gomez and Baleba. What do you think of that? If that partnership was to be
a frustrating one, because I don't think Gomez has covered himself in I don't think he's had two very good games recently. So I think that is a bit of a disappointing one. It looked like it could be good, but I think he's out of form, and I think Ayari's been performing better than him from the start. So it remains to be seen whether Ayari had the full 90 minutes in him, though. I think that's where his performance never quite seems to last for the full 90 minutes. So yeah, I think I would like to see Jack in midfield with him. Or alternatively Ayari or Gomez. We've got so many plethora of options everywhere that they're just not quite. One of them's not quite at such a level that they're above everyone else. So yeah, for me, I'd like to see Jack and Baleba in midfield and maybe Veltman at right back. But we'll see what the team news throws up for us in that sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Veltman coming back will be huge. I think that gives us that option to play Jack in midfield, which I agree. I think Jack and Baleba in centre midfield will be a really, really good pair. I think they complement each other really well. And then Minter on the right. You've got Matoma on the left, João Pedro in behind. I really like that combination. I think to start, I think João Pedro behind with Welbeck up top, and then after about maybe the 60th, 70th minute, depending on how the game's going, I think then you can bring on maybe put Gruder in at 10, and because I don't really like Gruder out wide, I much prefer him centrally. I'm just not a fan of him out wide. I think he'll be much more effective more centrally. So maybe even if Gruder comes off the bench to then replace Welbeck, and then João Pedro takes his place, maybe something like that. But I agree with you. I think that's personally what I would go for: is Welbeck, João Pedro, Matoma, Minter, Baleba, Hinchwood. I think that for me would be my starting 11, and then of course the back line picks itself a bit of these times. Depending on right back, of course. But yeah, so okay, nice. Yeah, I agree with you, Jack. I think for me that'd be the sort of team going forward. And then our away record, Jack, is actually pretty good, to be honest with you. I think in our last 8 games, apart from the Forest game, I think we were unbeaten, I believe, away from home. If my stats are correct. So, away from home, but it's going to be a tough test. Obviously, the Palace fans are going to have their drums out, so they're going to try and make it as intimidating as they can. But an away tie, Jack, at Selhurst Park is it's not, as much as we hate to admit it, is a tough place to go. It's not always been easy.
It's been a tough place for us to go. We haven't won there since Knockout scored back in 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, a long time
ago. But alternatively, Crystal Palace haven't beaten us at home since 2018. So it's been an interesting fixture because it just seems to end 1-1 almost every single time, which is frustrating. And Palace have had so many good days out at our stadium. It'd be nice to have it up there, but there's something that just doesn't quite get us over the line there, whether that be the atmosphere or something like that, or the expectation. And yeah, it's a frustrating one. It'd be nice to see us get 3 points there, but I think we've just got to concentrate on getting what we can out of the game. But yeah, I think better time for this squad to sort of prove they have the passion and the ability than to go to Crystal Palace and play well against them, and that'd be great. So yeah, it's a hard place to go. We're not the only team to struggle there. Villa struggle there massively. So yeah, it's a hard one to call, isn't it? Really, because yeah, it's hard to go into with any expectations. My expectation is to get drunk. That's what mine is for Saturday. So it's hard to sort of go into the game with the expectation because it's a derby game. I do a sort of last man standing thing at work, and we always pick the teams. And every time I see a derby game, because everybody's picking the same teams every week. Like they're always seeing like Wrexham or something or Stockport, but you suddenly see like a derby. Because I remember thinking, oh, Cambridge are crap. I'll do whoever's playing Cambridge. So, Peterborough, Cambridge, it's a derby. You never know what's going to happen in the game. So, yeah, a derby game, there's such a weird sort of atmosphere of expectation around it. Could we win? Could we lose? Who knows? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always, nervous times going into the Palace game. You just don't want to lose, do you? You just don't want to lose.
No.
Because, then bragging rights go out the window. Just what was the one thing? That's what I wanted to ask you, Jack. Let's say again, I don't want to be Debbie Downer. I'm not saying I don't want to be negative. But Jack, if the game wasn't to go our way, and let's say it was another loss, obviously that'll be 3 on the bounce. Do you think that all the Herzler outers will be back in full force after if it doesn't go our way?
I mean, they were back out after the Villa game after one loss, so yeah, it's a frustrating thing. I think we can't just. Look, I'll stand up and admit I was a little bit more leaning towards Herzler out. That was after we lost 7-0 to Forest. I think there's reasonable expectation. I'm not going to say I was perfect in it, and I've been proven wrong, but that sort of, I think that's a pretty fair limit to be suddenly like, that's going to be when I'm Herzler out.
Yeah, we'll let you off on that one.
7-0, whereas like I do think people are just so quick, and we can't just have this constant all season of get him out, get him back in, get him out, get him in.
Yeah, and just flip flappers.
Yeah, we can't just change every single time. Like, it's been a hard job for Herzler because I don't think there's not been any sort of. Some people just won't back him no matter what, and it frustrates me because we've got an opportunity where yes we can have a bit of longevity. I think our big problem so much has been we don't have longevity with the squad because the squad there's so much churn. We're selling someone on, with Graham Potter. It took him almost 3 years to get his mojo and get us playing because we had consistency for a long time. And we finally had the consistency with that squad leading all the way up to that great run. And De Zerbi sort of, he took the consistency from that squad and sort of put magic gold dust on it and made it even amazing. So I think we've got to sort of, let's not just start having a go at the consistency. We don't want to be getting rid of another manager and having this whole process again of looking for a manager in the summer because it's a new shiny toy. Let's just give him a bit of time and let's hope the result goes our way so we can sort of we can build on our success. Frustrating.
And then final question, Jack, before we get into match predictions. What do you see us? How do you see us approaching this game in terms from? Look, I'm not asking you to do the athletic / tifo analysis on the game.
Yeah.
But what do you think our strengths are, and where can we hurt Palace? And likewise, where do you see our weaknesses, and where do you think Palace could hurt us?
I think we've got to be defensively solid, and I think that's been a big problem in the lot against Villa, that we just weren't defensively solid, and we were very flat-footed in defence and very susceptible to counter-attacks. And look, Palace have some quick players in their team, and they've got Mateta, who just seems to be have a head which has just got a magnet for goal. So it's a frustrating one in that sense. I just think we've just got to concentrate and not do anything silly. But also, like, we've got such a plethora of attacking talent that we should be going out and taking the game to them from the front foot. Be solid at the back and sort of build a good foundation for these players to sort of do what they want to do. And when we've got the wings of if we've got Matoma and Minter on either wing, that'd be it. That's I always think that this must be a nightmare because you can't double up on either of them. And if they're both at their A game, running quickly, getting stuff into the box, and we just need to do basics, because we are quite a basic team. I know we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just high pressing. We're just high intensity, quick team. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're not like De Zerbi, where it's all like one perfect system that has to click into place to score a perfect goal. We're very much like run at them, try and hurt them, and score. And I think that's what Palace do to a certain extent. And it could end up being a bit of a chess game where it's a bit of a stalemate. But for me personally, I just want to see us take the game to them and sort of show what we can do away from home, because we've shown it so well recently.
I think you made a good point about Minter and Matoma. I'd like to see us utilise them. Not to utilise them more, because we do give them the ball a lot, especially Matoma. I feel like we give him the ball every time we usually go down the left, don't we?
Yeah.
We sort of focus on his ability to beat players. But what I mean is, I would quite like to see. I would quite like to see them get the support as well, because it's all great Matoma being able to beat his man, but then having that play. So, for example, a great example was against the Villa game where Matoma laid it off to a Dingra. I think it was. Was it Matoma? Yeah, and then Dingra had that shot which just went, wide, and Dingra made a really good run, to be fair to him. So basically, I think what I'm trying to get out is just to have that. It's great having these outlets on the wing, but if they're not getting the players supporting them, so like a João Pedro or Welbeck, then they become ineffective. Like, it's like, who have they got to then feed and give the ball to? So I think that's really important.
I do think we can occasionally struggle with getting runners into the box. Mitoma is so good at getting balls across the box, and and Ayari has not been that clinical for how good he's been. He's not clinical at all. He misses quite a few sitters. It's not to deride him, but we need those players who are running across the box to start contributing with goals. And it'll take some time, but that's a frustrating thing.
Even like, for example, like João Pedro, like he drops so deep. I know he's not a poacher. He's not one of those who's going to be the fox in the box. But even like Welbeck, sometimes he drops quite deep as well. And I'm like, why? If you're the sort of leading striker, I want you to be in and around the box, being that poacher, being that finisher. Where when Matoma and Minter are able to get in the box, you to be there and just to give yourself, you're gonna pick up 10, 15 goals, because they're just gonna feed you, put it on a plate for you, and you just stick it in. And it's sometimes frustrating when I see them drop so deep, and like, especially João Pedro. Sometimes he's playing like, there was one point I think yesterday or the Forest game, he's like basically playing like centre half, and I'm like, what's going on? Why are you so deep? And I get he wants to pick up the ball deep and go from there, and it does work for him a lot of the times. But I just want to see that focal point up front.
Not to dwell on this player's loss, but I think the problem is why Pedro's having to drop that deep is because we did have an incredibly creative player who had the ability to drop that deep, and would often drop that deep to bring the ball forward in Pascal Gross. So I think, no matter how much we look at it this season, we're still reeling from the loss of Pascal Gross. But
no, that's true.
So that's a frustrating thing, and hopefully we can sort of change our game to sort of get those balls in the box, and it'll be really good to see. So that's what I want to see us do.
Good. No, great. So final thing then, Jack. Talk to me. Match prediction. Your favourite part of the show.
Do you know what? I'm just not going to predict this game.
Cool. All right. I'll do it for you then.
Yeah, you go ahead with it. But no, I think genuinely it's a derby game. You can't predict it. I'm not predicting it. There you go. That's boring answer.
Like it.
There you go.
I like it. Okay. No, respect it. I am going to go. Do you know what? I'm going to be Mr. Positive today. We're going to win 2-1. We are going to score first, and then Palace will equalise, and then we will score the winner at around 70, 80 minutes and see the game out.
Nice. I like it.
Positivity, you know what I mean? We've got to finish. We've had a lot of negativity, a lot of bad energy this week, because, rightly so. But try and pick it up.
I would like the team to take my energy of don't put any expectation on this game. Fuck it. Go out and play and do what we show the world what we can do.
Yeah. I've said this before. For me, as long as we've shown that we've given fight, and for example, if Palace beat us 1-0, but we've shown grit, we've created chances, we've shown a fight, and we just lose on the day to a team that just outplayed us, I'm cool with that. It's when, for example, that Palace game at home, we just showed nothing. We didn't show any kind of desire. We didn't do any of the basics right. We didn't do anything right, and that frustrated me. Whereas if we go into this game and we give it our all and it's just not enough, fair enough. And I'm not Herzler out. No matter what happens this game, I'm sticking by him at least until August, September next year of next season. I just don't think it's something we should be basing, because we've had such a great run prior to that, and 3 losses to me doesn't mean that he's a terrible manager again. So yeah, look, as long as we give it our all and we do our best, and the police are after me, I think it's a great time.
Every day we record with you.
Check his hard drive, yeah. But no, as long as we give it our all, that's all that matters, and hopefully we get a positive result, and we come on to the match reaction podcast, and we have some great things to talk about, and it will be a great day, Jack. But yeah, without further ado, thank you so much, everyone, for listening, watching, all that good stuff. Please like, comment, subscribe.
Good luck to everyone running in the Brighton Marathon this weekend. Sorry, my friend is running in it, so yeah,
that's cute.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to everyone.
If you're listening and you're running in it, good luck.
Yeah. Make sure you get sub 4 hours. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you post Palace.
Yeah.
Hopefully with a win. Bye.